everyone? I am at University of Pennsylvania right now in the Roden dorms. Sunday and Monday I was at Brown University for like my little college road trip for their day on a college hill. It was cool. Right now I'm at UPenn's MSP and Quaker Days programs, and Friday I will be at Cornell's, I forget what theirs is called, but their preview day. So this is my stats video. Hope y'all enjoy and subscribe and come back and watch my college decision video, which I will be making. I will be making a decision next week. So yeah, enjoy. Bye. Woo, stats video. Woo. No, I haven't started at all.
Wow. Man, you may not get no financial aid.
Okay, so I'm back. Gonna do a stats video real quick. My name is Tyler. I recently applied to a lot of colleges. I was accepted to 3 Ivy Leagues, which were Brown, UPenn, and Cornell University. Today I'm just gonna share my stats, my extracurriculars, and my essays, and I guess give y'all an idea of how I got in, and hopefully y'all can see that you don't have to be some super genius or have $400,000 to pay a school to get in. You can be a normal person who just works hard and does their best and still get into the school. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the SAT first. The SAT, that's the only test that I took. I didn't take an ACT or anything like that. I didn't really study as much as I should have, and that's the one thing I regret out of this whole process. So I'm not just gonna tell y'all my highest score. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all all my scores, my progression or whatever, just to show if you don't have that high of an SAT first time or second time, you can still work your way up. So I'm gonna put my last SAT that I took. I'm gonna put that score up right here. And please take a look at the date. I took the last SAT that I could take in order to apply for regular decision on time. And that's why I meant last video when I said I wouldn't worry about early decision and early action and stuff like that, because I was really planning on applying early to a lot of these schools with a 1370, and that wasn't the strongest score that I could get. So I would recommend not worrying about that if you don't have the score that you want, and just keep on working and working until you get the score. Because I definitely was not expecting to get a 1450. A little come up. I started off with a 1280. Then I got a 1310, then I got 1370 in August. And I was expecting that 1370 to 1390 range was what I was gonna get the last time, because I didn't study at all for it. Especially the last one, it was just in the middle of a lot of things. I'm a full IB diploma candidate at my school, and we have the extended essay due. We had prescribed titles due. We also had to start our CAS projects and stuff, and then just school in general, senior year and all that stuff. So oh, and not to mention playing basketball and having to go to practice every single day. I didn't have much time to study, so yeah, I didn't do much for it, but it ended up coming out right, and I was really excited about it. I'm gonna put the reaction clip on top of me probably. All right, about to get my SAT score. Not expecting anything more than 1350 to 1360, but not gonna be mad if I get more. Didn't study, so I'm not gonna be mad if I didn't get more. But if I did get more, that'd be cool.
1800.
Yes! Yes! Did it go out? Yes, 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 yes!
But yeah, so get the highest score you can. If you want to be safe to get in the Ivies and stuff, I guess you probably should aim for at least 1500, just to be super safe. 1400 is in my opinion, you have to get a 1400 in order to even be looked at for the Ivies and stuff. And then a 1500, you have a good chance. And then anything higher than that, you're really doing good, as long as the rest of your application looks good, I feel and that's an opinion. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But I was on the lower end of that, and look at me, I still got into a few. So yay. And yeah, I'm gonna exclaim this one more time because I feel like it's really important. Take the SAT until you get the highest score that you can.
Period!
And I'm not telling you to take it like 5 or 6 times. I'm just telling you to take it as many times as you feel necessary and you feel like you can really get an improvement. So just don't go like willy-nilly just taking the SAT as many times as you want. Probably 4 should be like the max, and maybe 5 is like the absolute max, but like try to keep it under 4. But if you can't and you have to take it more times, just take it as long as you feel like you're going to get a better score. So yeah. Now on to subject test. Subject test, for a lot of you that might not know, because I know I didn't know what a subject test was until like a few months before I took them. They're like tests that are on specific subjects, science topics, math topics, languages, and they can show a college that you're like really good at a specific portion of knowledge. So if you're really good or you're really interested in majoring in like a language like Spanish or something, and you want to show a college that you're really good at Spanish, you can take a subject test and get perfect on it, and they'll know that, oh, she's really good at Spanish or he's really good at Spanish. So yes. The good thing about subject tests are that they don't really hurt you that much if you don't do too well on them, but they can like hype your application up if you do really good on them. Me, I didn't really do too good on either one of my subject tests. I took Pt2 and I also took biology. Took it at the busiest part of the year, and I never had time to study for them. I studied for it maybe 2 days before. I studied for both of them, and I mean, it didn't really help that much, but these are the scores that I got. Yeah, I didn't do that well on them, and the thing about these ones are like that all the people that are taking subject tests are probably trying to go to like one of these Ivy League schools or like Georgetown because they like require them or they recommend them. So it's really good to do good on them because it shows colleges that you're really good at this specific portion of knowledge. Now we're gonna look at GPA, rank, my whole transcript real quick. So yeah. So I go to a public high school in Mechanicsville, Virginia. It's kind of rural, suburban kind of mix or whatever. We're not one of those crazy public schools that puts out like 12 kids into the Ivy Leagues and all that every single year. The only person from my school that I can remember that went to an Ivy League was our valedictorian last year. He went to Princeton. That's the only person I can name, so don't think that I go to like this fancy school. I go to a normal school. So here's my GPA and rank. Yeah, I'm Ivy diploma candidate. I'm not the valedictorian in my class, sadly, but I'm pretty far up there. One of the reasons I'm not higher is because I had kind of like a dip in performance in my 9th and 10th grade year where I got like a few B's, mostly because I was going through like some stuff, like emotional stuff, dealing with like my brother's death. And then in 10th grade, I had a pretty like heavy extracurricular load, which I'm going to talk about later. But make sure that you do well in 9th and 10th grade because you can't like go back and change things. Now I'm like, I really wish I could go back and like tell Tyler to just put in that little extra whatever of effort and just get an A. But I didn't, so yeah. But I got it back up in 11th and 12th grade year and like made sure to like get all A's so colleges know that like I can get all A's and stuff. It's just I was going through a little bit. So yeah. So make sure that you're doing well in 9th and 10th grade because in 12th grade it can come back to haunt you if you did like horrible in 9th and 10th grade. So get the easy A's now because it only gets harder. Wish I would have did that. So the biggest thing I would say about like grades and stuff is to make sure you're taking the most rigorous courses that your school offers because it like shows that you have some sort of like internal motivation or drive to like be academically curious, and that's what these schools want to see. They want to see that you're like academically curious, obviously, so you can graduate and keep their graduation rate up. But also like these schools want you to like come to their school and do something big. So they want you to like come to their school They want you to research something and make a new discovery, and they can slap their name on it, and they want like clout from you. So make sure that you're showing them that you're interested in the world and knowledge in general, if you can. If you're like this in the same spot as me and you're like deciding on whether to do IB or just do AP classes and stuff, I would probably suggest that you do IB, because colleges tend to look at it as harder. I mean, that's debatable on whether it's harder or not on your learning style. Like AP classes are more like AP classes are more like a lot of material, and IB classes are more like a little bit of material but in depth. So just do IB. Please do IB. It's not bad. It's not as bad as you think. And you get to see some really cool memes. And if you're like thinking about doing IB, don't think that you're not gonna have a life. Like, I went to the same amount of games as my peers in high school. I played the same amount of sports as my peers. I went to the same amount of parties, or probably more parties than a lot of my peers. So don't think that you're not gonna have a life just because you do IB. It's not even like that. As long as you like do your work, it's fine. Like, you're not gonna be overwhelmed. You're gonna be busy probably, but depending on the type of person you are, you can like pretty much finesse it and like cruise through it. So yeah. Alright. So extracurriculars. So I'm gonna kind of cruise through my extracurriculars because most of them are like athletics and stuff. That's just the thing that I like to do. I like to be active, be playing sports, being out with my friends, playing sports together, being with the boys. Alright, so I played basketball since the age of 6. I played in a lot of youth leagues, I played in a lot of AAU teams, and I played for my high school for 4 years. So I played football in my 10th and 11th grade year, and I put on my application, I played in 9th grade too, because I went to all the workouts or whatever, the off-season workouts, from like December to the time the season started. So that's the same amount of time. Like, you're not gonna tell me I can't put that on my application. So I put that on my application too. And last but not least, I also did track in 10th grade year. I did it for 1 year. It was pretty cool. 4x4, we were the conference champions, and I stopped doing it because I do not like to run. So yeah. I'm also involved in my school's beta club, doing like community service and stuff, and I'm also the vice president of my school's psychology club. I don't really do much in it. It's just my friend Alexandra started the club, and I was like, can I be the vice president? And she was like, mm-hmm. So my extracurriculars, I guess, they're not really focused on like my application and like telling more about me. They're more or less showing that I can balance time and stuff. I guess I would recommend to y'all would be to like make sure your extracurriculars. So I guess what I recommend to y'all is like to make sure your extracurriculars like show the type of person you are and what you're interested in, because mine more or less showed that I'm good at balancing time, and I can do a lot. I can be a full IB diploma candidate and play like sports all the time, but it didn't really show like the whole like neurology side and like how I'm interested in biology and stuff. Your extracurriculars should like tell a story that you are telling with your transcript and your essay. So like for me, I said that I was into biology, which I am, and I said that I was also into neurology. So my transcript, they see that I took 3 different bio classes. I took bio in 9th grade just because that's the requirement for my area. And then I took IB Bio SO and IB Bio HL my last 2 years of school. And then I took AP Psychology and IB Psychology. So it kind of ties in, like tells them like, yeah, he really is into biology and he really is into psychology. And that's something that I wish I would have like told more of my extracurriculars. I mean, I guess I was the vice president of psychology club, so I guess that shows a little bit, but I wish I was involved in like a biology club, or I did like the science fairs and stuff, because I was never like into stuff like that, so I never did like the science fairs at my school and got like state recognition for stuff like that. So I wish in my extracurriculars I would do that more. So make sure that your extracurriculars match your transcripts and they match your essays, that you're pretty much bringing it all together and telling them what you want to do and the person that you are. So with that, I'm going to move on to essays. So my essays, I focus on my future career goals and like the reasonings for those. So this might sound a little bit repetitive if you saw the last video, but I'm gonna go over it one more time. So my brother Marlon was born with cerebral palsy, a neurological disease that affects his motor functions. So he couldn't walk or talk, and like growing up, I always wanted him to walk and talk, obviously. So growing up, I decided I wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to help kids like him. And that continued, and as I got older, I realized that there were different type of doctors and stuff, and I realized that I decided that I wanted to be a neurologist. So that's what I'm shooting for, and that's what I wrote about. And sadly, he passed away my freshman year, and I wrote about an experience I had with him in my Common App essay. So in my essay, I talked about the tooth fairy. Stick with me. It's cool, I think. Alright, when I lost my teeth when I was younger, my parents saved them so they could donate them to Johns Hopkins Hospital for research. Back in 2006, there was a lot of new research, new discoveries being made about stem cell, and they thought that they found that there was a possibility that they could use sibling stem cells in order to regenerate brain tissue or neurological tissue. And yeah, so we wanted to be a part of that. They told me about it when I was little, and it kind of stuck with me, and they forgot that they told me the story. So alright, so anyways, in my essay, I talked about the first time I lost a tooth, and the tooth fairy, or the money bunny is what my parents used to call it. But anyways, the tooth fairy came and took my tooth, and I freaked, pure tantrum. When I woke up that morning and my tooth was gone, I was done. I didn't understand that it was a whole transaction for the tooth. I didn't know that the tooth fairy came, took the tooth, and then gave you money. I thought that you put your tooth under there and you get money, and your tooth is still there. So when I woke up and my tooth was gone, I freaked out, and my parents kept on trying to explain to me it's the tooth fairy took it and they gave you money. That's the thing that happened, but I didn't understand that. So eventually I got to the whole we need it for Brubra. Brubra's, that's my nickname for my brother, by the way. We need it for Brubra. He's not gonna be able to walk. We need to get this together. I need my tooth back. And they broke out. Specifically, my mom broke out crying, and my dad had to comfort her. But my mom broke out crying because she thought it was so cute or whatever. And yeah, so I just talked about that, and she gave me some type of speech about how she kind of broke the news to me that the tooth fairy doesn't exist, and that she has my tooth, and she's gonna go ahead and save them so Barbara can walk one day. But yeah, so that's why I wrote about personal story, not a generic story. So I would stray away from the whole I was bad at something and now I'm good at it. I had a really bad 400 time in 8th grade, and then I worked hard in 10th grade, in 9th and 10th grade, and in 11th grade it's way better. I would stray away from kind of generic stuff, because I guess the whole goal of the essay, it's not a huge part of the the application process, but it's good to I guess get your application a name, because I guess what you want with this is to impress or tell a story that's different, where the people in the committees can be oh, do you remember that kid who talked about the tooth fairy? Or should we admit that kid who talked about asparagus? You kind of want to differentiate yourself from everybody else, because the stats and stuff, you can, once you get to a certain number, y'all are all kind of equal. It's not someone who got 20 points more than you is that much different from you, and then y'all probably have similar grades, and y'all probably have similar transcripts and stuff. So the essay is the portion where you can show that you have a different type of personality, something like that. Where again, obviously you can get an interview and stuff, but the essay interviews aren't 100%. You might not even get one. So the essays are pretty much the part of the application where you kind of have to differentiate yourself. But if you don't, and you still have super cool really, really good stats, it might not matter as much. But just don't do anything that's too generic. Try to be creative with it when you're telling them like why you want to go to their school, instead of just like coming and being like, I want to be this because of this. Maybe tell a story that implies why you want to become this and why you want to do this. Just make sure you're creative and make sure you're not generic. And also, so this is like the portion of the application where you like tie everything together. So like they look at the classes that you've taken, they look at your extracurriculars, and your essay should support both of those and tie it all together. Like as I said earlier, I was into biology, and I kind of mentioned that in like the smaller essays that each class had or each school had. I mentioned that I was into neurology and I was into like biology, and that's supported by my transcript, not really my extracurriculars, but try to make it so all yours support each other and tie together to create like a complete picture of the type of person that you are and who you are. Because colleges, when they're like filling in the gaps, they might not fill in the gaps correctly. They might underestimate the type of person you are, underestimate your work ethic or something like that, or your interest in something. So make sure that you paint the picture that you want colleges to see, and don't let them fill in the gaps for you. All right, that's it. That's all I have to say, I think. And yeah, so like I said in my last video, I'm gonna go to the preview days for Brown, UPenn, and Cornell next week. And after that, I'm just gonna decide on which one I feel is the best choice, I guess. All of them have like pretty similar academics when it comes to like their neuroscience programs. So like, I guess a big factor of it now is like more like the social aspect of it, because like I'm a social dude. Like I need to like do stuff. Like I can't be like, I have to be like with people that I want to be with. So like I want to make sure that all of them are, there's cool people there, and I'm sure there's cool people with all of them. But yeah, if you want to, I'm gonna like, I guess, make a video telling where I'm gonna go later. But for right now, I don't know. So yeah.
Free Uzi. Yeah. I remember when that girl didn't need me. I didn't have no money and I couldn't find out what's the reason. Why?